good morning, guys. Today, Mama Me here, and I'm going to make my go-to cinnamon buns. Very easy, 7 ingredients. So we're going to start with 1 tablespoon. This is vegan butter. We'll put 1 tablespoon in our pan. Bam. We'll turn this on. Now all we want to do is heat this up because we're going to put our yeast in. We're going to put 1 cup of oat milk. I'm using cashew. Any kind of milk you'd like to use is fine. Okay. So we're really only going to get this to like bath water. Nothing hotter than that, because your yeast will not activate if it, if your milk is too hot. So we'll give it a stir. All right. I don't like this one. I'll use this. Okay. Now we're just heating up our milk.
In another Fox News alert now, a U.S. military convoy attacked by a Taliban bomber in Afghanistan. The homicide bombing happening a short time ago near Bagram Air Force Base in the northern part of the country. Military officials say no troops were hurt, but the convoy was heavily damaged. This is the 3rd attack by the Taliban on U.S. troops this week alone.
And I know by the touch, and so will you. Would you want to get in there if it was your bath water? Too hot, you're not going to get in. Just right. So I'll keep checking it until I hit that temperature, because it happens very quick.
And Leonardo DiCaprio, an award-winning hypocrite. The Titanic star taking a private jet from France to New York to accept an environmental award, then taking a jet to France.
I'm there. Okay, so that's how quick. I'm going to go ahead and pour it in my bowl. Put some water in my pan. And these are delicious, and they take, like I said, 7 ingredients, and so easy to make. It takes a little bit of time because you let your dough raise a little bit for like an hour.
Tucker was mentioning this election, this campaign season has gone fast and furious. The NRA didn't come out and make an endorsement, I think, of Mitt Romney until much later.
Perfect. This is perfect. Okay, I'll stir this up just a little bit, and then I'm going to just sprinkle my yeast on top.
Hillary wants them to be defenseless, wants to take away any chance they have of survival. That's why we're going to call her heartless.
It's this simple. So I'll sprinkle this, and once you sprinkle your yeast, you don't stir it for another 10 minutes. You just kind of let it settle. And really, you put about 7 ounces in there. Right now, I have 6 ounces. So I'm going to open this and put another ounce in.
They were enthusiastic, energized, excited, on their feet, and if I were
There we go, what I think to be an ounce. All right, and we'll put this in the refrigerator. So that you have a little show of that. See how it's settling on the top? And this is what you should see. Then I'll come back in 10 minutes and I'll stir this up and then I'll add the rest of my ingredients. All right. Okay guys, so now we're going to make the dough and we're going to stir up the milk, the homemade butter that I made and have in here, and I'm out of it, sorry to say. So to spread, I will have to use the Earth Balance, which is just as good, it's just not homemade. But okay, so we'll stir this up. Okay, it's sat for 10 minutes. And now we'll add 1 tablespoon of coconut sugar. I will measure this to make sure. You don't have to, but I will. Yeah, that's exactly a tablespoon. Good. So now I know that's a tablespoon. All right. Stir this up real good. No, I keep moving that and I shouldn't. Okay. And we'll add in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And of course, you know, it's the Himalaya salt. Okay. So this doesn't come off, so I gotta kind of turn it to get it out. I'll let you see what I'm doing here. You know, again, it doesn't have to be exact, but I'd like to get as close as I can to 1/2 teaspoon. I don't want too much, too less.
He's raising expectations beyond the point of no return. It's not real. And when you tell people they're getting...
So just 1/2 teaspoon. And I think between this, bam, and what I have on my Scott towel, it is 1/2 teaspoon. Or to my guess, 1/2 teaspoon. So now we'll start adding in the flour. And we're going to add approximately 3 cups. But you don't want it sticky, so you may have to add more or even less. You'll know as you go along. And I'm using organic flour, all-purpose, unbleached, of course.
It just doesn't wash. And the fact of the matter is, inciting one other form of wasteful spending and suggesting that all we need to do is end that, then we can do this other wasteful, destructive spending. We haven't addressed the fundamental point, which is that you cannot simply give things away for free. And even presuming the enormous benefit of sending everyone to college, even students...
Just trying, normally I would just pour this in, but I'm trying to get it accurate for you guys as best as I can. Alright, so I'm going to start pouring this in, the flour.
Intentions are not enough to put bread on the shelves or make it possible to purchase it.
So check this out, very, very quickly. You guys are leading, in essence, a religious movement. Can you imagine Bernie voters in the end getting behind Hillary? I mean, she's just an apostate. They're never going to support her.
I've been doing campaigns for 25 years. I'm really
Okay, another cup.
I don't know if they're going to go there or not.
Just put it in there, it's easier.
There's going to be a lot of Senate Democrats who are going to suffer.
After I'm done with this flour, I'll put it into one of my big glass mason jars to keep it fresh. Okay, another cup.
It's an amazing story. We've got all the details coming up. And a crisis developing in Hollywood. One model / actress says she can't get a job because she's too physically attractive. This is happening in this country, ladies and gentlemen. It's a silent plague that we're exposing here on Fox and Friends.
You see it coming together. I'm gonna get one more cup, and now it's looking like, you know, maybe it'll take a half a cup. Maybe I can fit a full cup in. I'm gonna start using my hands now for this. So I put in most of that cup except for maybe a quarter, because I think it'll definitely take all that. Put more in here just in case I need it, and my hands will be all sticky, and I don't want to. Okay. Yeah, it's coming together nicely. You guys can see this. Okay.
When you're in shape, you just feel better. But starting a new fitness routine can be painful. Now there's a better way. Introducing patent pending.
Always make sure your hands are nice and clean before you put your hands into your dough. Or whenever you're cooking, make sure you wash your hands before you do start cooking.
From start to finish, with smooth, controlled range of motion that's easy on your joints.
For me, I wash my hands all through the time I'm cooking. I always have my hands in and out of the water.
Firm your abs, strengthen your legs. Watch this one simple exercise engage your arms, chest, and back. Cut your exercise time in half by exercising your upper and lower.
So now I'm just working it a little bit to get all the flour into the dough. And you see, as I start working it, the flour goes into the dough. And you never really want to overwork your flour, because then it becomes tough. And that's certainly not our goal.
Visit WeGyms.com to order your very own WeGym, and we'll include a WeGym fitness guide, our healthy eating system guide, an exercise DVD, and our handy carry tote, absolutely free. Now introducing the WeGym Pro with 50% more resistance to help sculpt your muscles with the most effective full body workout product we've ever produced. Look for it when you call or visit WeGyms.com. WeGym is the best way to start out a new fitness routine. With our 60-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Dial the number on your screen or visit WeGyms.com right now.
I hope you guys can see this well.
Right now in Men's Warehouse, it's buy one get one free on most suits, sport coats, dress slacks, sportswear, and more.
So as you see, I'm not going to be adding any more flour to this.
Well, there is a crisis unfolding right now across the United States.
Wait a second.
Oh, I'm just joking. We're not actually going to do that story.
And I have my counter nice and clean. I made sure I cleaned it well before I'm going to put anything on the counter. So what I'll do is I'll just put this out here for a second and just work it just a little bit, just to get it all combined into the dough.
Shows that yes. Work and also on what's the other show that you have now?
American Diner Revival? Yes. Have you guys watching Top Junior?
See how I'm pushing down my back of my hand and combining all the dough together, and when you do that, the flour will be combined with the dough itself. So now it's getting moister. It was very dry. So now that I work it and work the flour in, it becomes moist, which that's what I'm looking for.
We know you're getting older, so you have trouble blowing out the candles.
So these are all recipes from the cookbook, my cookbook, so the chef next door. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have seen it.
Yes. So it's a frittata recipe, a bacon and avocado salad, and then this carrot cake. It's a cocoa carrot cake, and this cocoa powder is so delicious. Of course, cream cheese frosting.
So what I'm going to do now is wash out my bowl,
This morning I thought a little bit healthy.
and then I'm going to grease it some. And then add the dough back. And then I'm going to let it sit for an hour.
Jalapeno lime dressing. And then, you know, on your birthday, you always have to have.
I don't want any more of that.
This is, it's a cocoa powder carrot cake, basically. So it's carrots, it's walnuts, it's cocoa powder, it's butter, sugar, flour, cream cheese.
No, you can improve upon carrot cake.
Yes, you can. You can put a little chocolate in there.
Oh, you're so
You
nice.
put chocolate in there.
Okay.
You can screw on anything.
Is this your new book, by the way?
Yes, it's my new book. Where is it?
There we go.
Am I gonna have some?
Yeah, here, have a bite.
By the way, not only is Amanda one of the best TV personalities, you're one of the nicest people around.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's great. I wanted to say, you know, as a surprise to you for your birthday. We'll give you a book and say, cook it at home.
Okay.
Junior, Tuesday night, this Tuesday, there's an episode on, it's so great, I'm with Jerome Bennett and Ali Khan. We have some great guest judges, and literally these 9-year-olds are incredible. Thank you. Happy birthday. We have all news right now in the shower. She was attacked by the suspect who was carrying a hammer. And the legendary rock band that performed during the
Alright, so I have my bowl cleaned, and now I'm just drying it. And dry your bowl well before you add the oil. And you're going to add the oil, of course, so the dough will not stick to the bowl. Alright, got that all cleaned up.
Actress and model Emily Ratajkowski says that she's just simply too good looking to get hired. She claims she keeps getting turned down for serious roles because people just
Clean.
want to see her in sexy roles.
Now I'm going to add some olive oil, some virgin olive oil to the bowl.
The Entourage movie.
Just enough in there so it won't stick. So we go ahead and spread that all around. There we go. That's nice, nice, nice. Then we take this and make sure that this gets oil all around it so it won't stick. because if it sticks, you're going to have a heck of a time getting it out once it raises. All right, there we go. Now I'll put some plastic over the top. I always put the olive oil all over my hands and my arms. And olive oil is very good as a moisturizer. I never waste it. Okay, so I'm getting the plastic wrap. We'll make sure we have a nice, tight seal. All right, so here we go, here we go. And there we go. Now what we'll do is we'll put this away and we'll let it raise, and I'll bring it back out in an hour.
That establishment has lost their punch.
Okay, guys, I'm back. First thing I'm going to do is turn on the oven. We're going to turn that on to 350. Show you the dough now, and this is after an hour of sitting. So we'll take this out. Nice. Okay, we'll get a little flour in here.
This is interesting. The New York Times stories, let me just say this. I mean, they're not...
Make sure your hands are clean. Okay. Now we're going to roll it out.
Any newspaper that's even doing that anymore, and they let these women tell their stories, and I would encourage people...
See? Easy peasy.
...stuff in there that made Trump look like a, you know, that he promoted women, he said some goofy things to them. Yeah, I would encourage people not only to read the story, Steve, but also listen to what at least one of the participants in the story said. The lead woman in that story, the woman who started the article off, they wanted to make her story sound like she was totally anti-Trump.
You roll it out. We're going to make it into a square.
She was told one thing and they ended up doing another in terms of how they were going to treat her in the story.
Okay.
So what this goes to show is the Times can't often bring people down, but what they choose.
So you know you got to get it somewhat on the thinner side because you're going to roll this up.
Biggest scandal of modern times, Zippo coverage. That was a shame. Not here. We covered it here.
So just keep rolling it until you get it to your size that you want. And it always has to be in a square in order to be able to roll it.
And you work hard to keep it that way.
Or you're going to have a lot of uneven cinnamon buns, which you don't want.
Maybe too hard.
Get claim rate guard from Allstate. It helps keep your homeowner's rate from going up. Just
coming along nicely.
Call an Allstate agent first. 888-429-5722.
Accident forgiveness from Allstate will keep his rates from going up. But not his blood pressure.
Okay.
Michael James?
Bill Hay. Not good.
Get accident forgiveness from Allstate and keep your rates from going up just because of an accident. And it starts the day
Coming along. Takes a little bit of time. You know, anything you do takes a little bit of time. So, gotta have some patience while you're rolling. Just relax and take it easy for a second as you're rolling it out.
I trust Tana. And with new Tana overnight underwear, I can now sleep worry-free all night. The unique secure belly system gives me triple protection.
Okay, so I would say we're just about there. Very nice, very nice.
I thought I married an Italian.
My lineage was the Vecchios and Zuccolis. Through ancestry of the DNA, I found out that I was only 16.
Now you always have to hope that it doesn't stick underneath. But as long as you have it floured well, it should be good. Should be well, but we'll see.
I didn't know about. It's a little bit like me.
Ancestry has many paths to discovering your story. Get started for free at Ancestry.com.
Sailing through the heart of cities and landscapes with Viking, you'll see things differently.
Still play around with it a little bit because one side I have thinner than the other. And I don't really want to do that. I'm trying to get it even in all the spots. There we go. I think we got it. Nice. Very nice. Very pretty. Okay, so then we'll take our butter
We got 1,000 hits on our
and we'll just put some butter. Spread out your butter. I'm almost at the end of it, so I'm just stowing it right out of my container.
Fox News alert from Washington. Good morning to you this Saturday. I'm leaving.
This can be really relaxing too if you allow it to be. I actually relax the most when I'm in the kitchen and I'm just doing my own little thing. I think it's the best. All right, we're almost done putting the butter.
Early Thursday morning in the Mediterranean, that crash site 170 miles off the Egyptian coast.
And like I showed you, I use Earth Balance. I did have my homemade butter, but I ran out, so I wish I could have did the whole thing with the homemade butter. But I thought I had more in the refrigerator, and I didn't.
New Wade with new home at the California Science Center. Officials say the 17-mile journey will take 18 hours. Back to Forbes on Fox.
Okay, that's enough butter. So then you're gonna butter your plate or whatever you put it in. You can put it in a square glass dish or, you know, like a 9 by 13. So I'm gonna do 2. I usually have my 9 by 13 that I put it in, but I thought I'd try something different.
Because ultimately their fight against ISIS is our fight as well. And not only just in terms of money and weapons, but also know-how.
Okay, this is all buttered up and nice. They're both buttered. Ready to go.
Especially in Iraq, that know-how would be very, very helpful to Egypt.
So then in this cup, I put about half a cup of sugar. I use the coconut sugar. Then I have the organic cinnamon. Yep, there it is. And I'm going to put...
Conservatives in Congress talk all the time about the definite harm caused by domestic government spending, but they act as though it takes on magical powers when the spending occurs overseas.
About...
The Middle East more broadly, I think they're shining examples of how our spending can actually destabilize a region.
2 tablespoons.
Stay out.
But Rich, we rushed in when the Muslim Brotherhood, a terrorist
Oh, I'm sorry, not 2 tablespoons, 2 teaspoons. At least 2 teaspoons. It depends how much cinnamon do you like, you know? Whatever you like, that's what you do.
You know, we simply can't let ISIS get it.
So then you be very generous with the sugar.
Right about retired General McChrystal. I interviewed him, and
I can smell the cinnamon.
it took 2 years.
Smells really, really nice.
Proper counterinsurgency war against ISIS. So
I like making these sticky, cinnamon buns because I love the smell of the yeast when it's activating.
2014, Sinai Peninsula, Egypt forces were attacked by ISIS.
I think it reminds me when my father used to make homemade donuts for us, and that was our big treat. He used to do that once a week, homemade donuts, and they were the best. They were so, so good. All right, so we got a lot of sugar.
I prefer instead for the United States to bolster our military backup. Over the last 5 years,
And guess what? We use the whole thing. Done.
And for the Air Force, 24%. What about the United States?
Okay.
We are there in the Sinai. There are about 250 troops in the Sinai right now. A lot of them have been targeted by ISIS. Here's the deal. This is not exactly your father's Egypt.
Then if you like, you can put nuts in it, raisins. I'm going to put both. Nuts and raisins. That's my choice. Why go for one when you can do both? So actually,
within the budget of $1.3 billion, that's what I would do. I don't think that they need any more as long as these abuses.
I'm going to smash up these nuts some.
We need allies. We need allies in the Middle East. If it's a choice between ISIS
and the nuts you use whatever you like, whatever amount you like.
I choose the latter.
Yes, and with the latter, you have the opportunity, David, to develop more and more of a middle class and get the kind of civil society and ultimately the democracy in that part of the world.
Okay, and just sprinkle them.
What they are and what they're going to do. So yes, not a great choice, but I think it's an obvious one. Go with the moderate.
Okay, now my oven is ready. That was the signal that preheating is over. And cakes and pastries, you never want to put in an oven that's not preheated, but anything else pretty much can be put in the oven if it's not, you know, while you're waiting for it to preheat, but not a cake or any kind of pastries. It has to be up to temperature before you put them in.
Sharing going on between our allies in the Middle East, including Egypt, about what these guys are doing, not just ISIS, but other terrorist groups. I think there's a payoff there.
Mike, what I'd like to do with the help those
Okay, that's really enough nuts for me. Now comes my raisins, and I took my raisins and I soaked them in some water first. That way you make them plump. Again, just however many you'd like. It's your choice. I used probably about 1/4 cup that I took and soaked. All right, all right. Looks good.
He says all the free money is creating a new stock bubble. Is he right or wrong? We report. You may want to hide.
Tonight,
Okay.
Scott Baio stumps for Trump on a must-see Justice with Judge Ginny.
Just washing my hands. I'd like my hands to be clean when I do this. I'm coming, I'm coming. Okay, now we start rolling. There we go. Now you can see that as I start rolling. Bring it down just a little bit more. You don't want anything to really not have its share of sugar and cinnamon and nuts, and so spread it out a little bit more if you have to give everybody their share. Okay, now we're ready. We're gonna roll. So much for washing my hands. Alright, now we start. Now you take from the end a little piece and you start rolling up. Try to get it tight.
It starts with your DNA, your 23 pairs of chromosomes that make you.
Try to get it tight if you can. Roll, roll, roll.
Where you can receive personalized reports online about your health traits, and ancestry. See how your
And then try to stay even
of one incredible you.
as you're rolling.
At 23andme.com.
Here we go.
McDonald's saying the Federal Reserve is pumping up a new tech bubble.
Good.
Free money and hurting folks trying to save money. Some here say the Fed may be proving it right. They'll explain in 60
Coming
seconds.
along nicely.
Summer may be starting soon, but your local Ford store's Memorial Day sales event is quickly coming to an end. These are the final days for you to get great deals on everything in stock. Now, for a limited time, get 0% financing for 72 months on the new Ford Focus, Fusion, Escape, Edge, and Explorer. Plus, get up to 1,000 smart bonus cash. But hurry, you will
Hey, we're almost done. We almost have it rolled.
1,000 smart bonus cash at your local Ford store's Memorial Day sales event.
Bring it on back.
It's in the air. Get your house ready with Spray and Forget. It removes stains caused by mold.
Seal it up just a little bit on the edges.
Streaks, gone. Green stains, gone. What a difference. Use Spray and Forget on decks, brick, or any exterior surface.
I'm going to try to seal it up some.
And forget it. It's 100% guaranteed. Spray and Forget.
Turn it over.
In America. Available at
And I try to get mine all to the same sizes so you can work with it a little bit. See what I'm doing there? Just trying to stretch it out and make it even.
First of all, has the Fed created a bubble while paying savers with 0 interest rates?
Yes, it absolutely has, David. The savings rates.
And then I'm getting my knife so I can cut. I'm going to put some flour on it. All right, now we cut.
John, by the way, John has a new book on the subject called Who Needs the Fed? And you all want to go.
All right, and as we cut,
The fact is that just a hint, just
we lay them in the pan. All right.
Oh, please, the Fed couldn't cause a stock boom on its very best day, week, or year. As my wildly insightful new book, Who Needs the Fed, makes very funny.
These are really nice to make if you have company coming over or... And I don't...
Sabrina, I gotta be clear about it.
So right in the middle of making these, my battery ran down and I have to charge it. So all I did was plugged it in while I finished these up.
We also have to look at the regulatory side of things, and bills like Dodd-Frank, for instance, which is in effect consolidated power, made it harder for small.
So these are very nice if you like stickies, or I always call them sticky buns, but they're not. The way they would become sticky buns was if you would put a smear on the bottom of this. The smear is the sugary caramel that you find, and I'm not doing that because that's just way too sweet. So there we go. That's one. Pop that in.
She's an expert in runway operations, but these experts need HR experts.
Okay.
Challenges.
Employee benefit packages,
Talent retention.
corporate telework policy.
HR professionals rely on SHRM's competency-based certifications to help them drive business success. Credentials that say,
I am ready because I am.
Put on my way.
I am SHRM certified.
Stop. Put down that paintbrush and stop throwing things out because they're faded. What if I told you could have a
One more.
10 minutes without ever fading?
We're good to go. Yeah.
Colored by White Dude, the award-winning coating that's easier than paint.
Perfect.
Faded blues
Really nice.
dull reds become vibrant. Every color becomes deep and luscious. It will stay
So two plates. Both in the oven, and as soon as they come out, I'll show you what they turned out like. And yeah, so I'll be back in about 25 minutes.
The untreated area is immediately ruined by this permanent marker. For Joe Biden or John Kerry, I think in the head.
Sorry about that. Okay, here's the finished product. We're gonna give it a try.
to Donald Trump. How does Hillary Clinton
See what it tastes like.
Bernie Sanders and
All right, let's see.
on board?
Well, that's a very good question.
I don't want one too big.
Sanders is not being cheated out of the
All
nomination.
right.
I think that's a ridiculous claim. However, if his supporters feel that he's being cheated out of the nomination, that's a political problem for the Democrats anyway.
Right.
Our colleague Peggy Noonan proposes
It's crunchy from the caramel, this brown sugar that caramelized on the bottom.
Keep the party together and bring her supporters on. His supporters on board. And
I have a 70-year-old ticket to try to drive the Union.
134 years.
It's so good.
I at first thought that was a ridiculous idea, but reading Peggy's column, I kind of felt like the logic was surprisingly compelling.
I know you don't agree with that.
You really have to give these a try. These are addictive. Not kidding. These are so, so good. Okay, so you have a better recipe, let me know. Share with me if you think, you know, you have one that's a little bit different than what I made. I'd love it if you'd share. So comment and a like and subscribe. And I'll talk to you real soon. Much love going your way.
Influencing platform he's already.